So let's take a look at what's new in version 1.5 of iEquip. It's been a year and a bit in the development. There have been literally hundreds and hundreds of changes, lots of tweaks, lots of optimization, lots of bug fixes, and quite a lot of new features. So there's going to be quite a bit to talk you through. I'll try and keep it as concise as I can. So we'll not waste any time, and let's just jump in and have a quick look at the MCM to start with. I'll be the first to admit that the previous version of the iEquip MCM wasn't exactly the easiest of things to find your way around. There are a lot of options. There have to be because of the amount of features, but they weren't particularly logically excuse me, logically arranged in some cases. So the MCM has had a complete overhaul. Options have been grouped together, quite a lot of things have been taken out, quite a lot of things have been simplified. So hopefully it makes everything a lot more user-friendly and intuitive. So we'll just quickly skip through some of the pages and I'll show you some of the main changes. And a few of them we'll touch on in detail after we've done this. On this general page, there's one thing on here that we will touch on at the end of the video, which is this section here. I'm not going to bother boring you with it at the moment. We'll show you in action in a second. Adding items, the main thing to explain here is to do with auto add. In the earlier version of iEquip, you had the option of either manually adding your items to your queues through the menus using your hotkeys, or you could enable auto add in here, and as you equip new items they would automatically be added to your queues. And optionally you could flag them as auto added and then skip those items when you were cycling, so only your manually added items would be included in your cycling. It worked fairly well. But that does add a bit of an overhead in the cycling code, so we've implemented a new way of handling temporary items in the queue. So no matter what you equip, whether you have auto add enabled or not, we'll show in the widget, we'll update in the widget, we'll show all of the poison and recharging information and tempering information and so on. But as soon as you unequip that item, it will be removed from the queue. So only your manually added items will remain. This has the benefit of keeping your queues nice and clean, saves you from having to keep going in and out of the queue management menus to remove stuff you don't actually need, and it's just generally a better way of doing it. You can still enable auto add if you want to, those options are all still in here, but by default these are turned off. And my suggestion would be leave it off and just manually add the items that you absolutely want to have in the queues. Cycling, nothing new in here. The only little bit of advice while we're on this page is, again, if you're wanting to try and keep cycling speed up, then turn these two options off. I think they are enabled by default, but turn them off and they will speed up your queue cycling if you're so desire. Equipping, big thing in here is this auto equipping options, which we're going to touch on in just a second, so I'll not bother here. The only difference in here is in quick ranged we have now got the option for ranged spells and staffs, as well as the bound weapons and the regular bows and crossbows. Those ranged spells and staffs are managed by a list of spells and staffs in the patch file, which you can read about on the mod page. Any other spell mod that you want to add support for, you just simply copy the format in that patch file and add your own spells and or staffs as you wish. Poisons, another of the big changes in here, which is the throwing poisons. That's another of the three things I'm going to show you in just a second, so I'll not go into it at the moment. And you've also got this option here which allows you to enable or disable the sound and visual effects on poisoning your weapons, and similarly when you're recharging weapons. Another change you've got in here is you have a new option for displaying the enchantment charges on weapons, which is radial charge meters. That's a circular charge meter, works really well with some of the circular widget backgrounds. You'll see that in a second because it's my preferred layout, so you will see that when I enable the HUD. Big changes in potions. There's a lot of work going on in here to try and simplify things. There used to be lots of different thresholds that determined when things would be consumed and what would be consumed at any given time. That's been simplified into this section here, which basically gives you a slider here which determines whether or not anything will be consumed. So if your health happens to be above 70%, nothing will happen. And you've also got your smart select, use strongest, use weakest, which is the same as before, threshold for smart select, and this option in here, which is what to do if an effect is already active on the player when you try to consume a poison. If you select allow, it will always consume something and replace the effect that's on you. If you select allow if stronger, or only allow in combat, which is really only allow in combat if stronger, then it has to be this amount stronger than the current effect before a potion will be consumed. So that's potion consumption and selection. The other big change is over here under quick restore. You obviously have the restore options as before, which stats you want to include, those stats also affect what fortify and regenerate potions you consume. But in addition to that, we've extended it with additional buffs. So if you want quick buff to carry on and buff resistances, you can select which you want it to do. Combat skills, again, you can select which combat skill potions you want it to consume, and magic skills. If you are playing a mage, you can select which school you want it to do. Obviously don't select all of these, you can if you want, but it would end up with quick restore and quick buff consuming up to 26 potions in one go, I think. So be selective. So yeah, that's the quick restore options. Only new thing in torches and quick light is we've now made it so that any torch you drop, whether it's the iEquip torch or a Torches Cast Shadows torch or whatever, if iEquip's managing it, when you drop it, it will have the ability to ignite oil pools or gas traps. So if you're in a dungeon and there's one of those big pools of oil on the ground, you no longer need fire magic, you can literally just drop your lit torch and it will cause it to explode. A couple of new options in the sort of miscellaneous UI stuff for the widget. This one's a little bit of fun. It only affects iEquip, doesn't affect your main inventory lists, but if you want to set custom names for the various temper levels, you can go in and do it here. So if, for example, you're using something like equipment durability system, which allows sort of random tempering on items, some of which can be below fine but not quite untempered, you could set it to something like, I don't know, completely pish. There we go, completely pish. So we'd have a completely pish iron sword. And the other new bit in here is you have a couple of new background options in the form of Dark Souls type backgrounds. A couple of people requested that, so there you have it, it's in there. Nothing new in edit mode, and the profiles and information page has had a big overhaul. There's an awful lot of information in here now about the versioning for the 3 different bits of our mod, the versioning for the core requirements and what they're required for, just so that you know, and also all the mods that have built-in support in iEquip without any need for patching. It will tell you if it's detected, and it will tell you the support that is being added. That's pretty much it. The only other thing I added was this color scheme toggle for the MCM, the default color scheme, which works perfectly well for standard Sky UI, doesn't really work very well if you're using something like Dear Diary, such as I am here. So we've added a text color toggle so you can make it a little bit more readable. Right, so that's everything that is new in the MCM. Let's just jump straight in and we will look at the first of the big new features, which is auto equipping. Now, over the past year, I have been playing quite a lot of battle royale type games, so Call of Duty Mobile, that sort of thing, and I really like the automatic equipping that these sort of games have. So you pick up a weapon or an attachment that's better than the one that you currently have, and it will automatically switch to your new one and throw the other one away. It's great for inventory management, saves you carrying a whole load of stuff around. And yeah, it's quite a lot of fun. So you have the option to turn this on for Skyrim now. So my preference is it will only work when weapons are drawn. You can have it switch items at any time, or you can have it switch only when you are in combat. So for this purpose, we'll put weapons drawn. When you enable it, you've then got various options. So I've got it set at the defaults, which is only equip if the one you're picking up is better than the current item. Don't switch out if you have an enchanted weapon equipped. You can set that to, if your enchanted weapon's empty, it'll switch. You can tell it whether to switch a poisoned item or not. And the hardcore option here, you can drop your current item. You can disable this if you want, but if you do enable it, you can also tell it not to drop favorited items. It won't equip different types of items. So if you're currently one-handed, it will only switch one-handed. If you are two-handed, it will only switch two-handed, and if you're ranged, it will only switch ranged. So for this, we will need to jump into character and head to somewhere where I have dumped, very conveniently, a few weapons. We'll just leave Inigo sitting enjoying the view over Riften, and let's just head across to the nearest rooftop. Where I have prepared earlier. Hello. Right. So here we have it. Selection of weapons, ranged, shields, one-handed, two-handed, lying around. Let's just draw weapons, and I will switch to first person so it's a little bit easier for me to see. So we have two iron war axes equipped, both doing 9 damage, both one-handed. If I pick up something that is weaker than either weapon, nothing will happen. Sorry, let's just show the HUD so that we can see what's going on. Here's one of the new widget layouts that are included in 1.5. There's 6 or 7 of them for you to try out. Right, so yeah, so you pick up something worse than your current item, it won't do anything. If we pick up something better, here we go, it will switch and drop the one that we had equipped. If you pick up, let's just go unhanded here for a second. If you pick up something and you're unhanded, it will go straight into the hand that you had equipped. And again, there we go, better than the one we had, better than the one we had. If I try and pick up a two-handed item, is that two-handed? Not sure. Let's go for two-handed item. It won't switch. But if we say, let's just see what we've got. If we drop that one and we switch to our battle axe. Here we go. There we go. So only switches if weapon types are correct. So we're just going to switch back to something one-handed here. Or we would if I had anything. There we go. Right, and we're going to go unarmed in the left hand. There we go. So, same with shields. Unarmed goes to shield. If I pick up a better shield, look at that, it's a completely pish-hide shield. Right, there you go, that was what I was talking about. Right, there we go, we've picked up a banded iron shield. It too is completely pish. Now, if I just switch to a ranged weapon, oh, maybe not. There we go, ranged weapon. Here we are. So, my ranged weapon is a standard hunting bow. It does 8 damage, and you can see I've got various ammo for it in here. You will also see I do not currently have any bolts. So if I pick up a far better crossbow, but I have no bolts, nothing will happen. If we just drop that again for a second. There we go. If I pick up bolts for it, and then pick it up, there we go. Right, so there you go. So that's auto-equipping in a nutshell. It does what it says on the tin. Let me just get back to something. Yeah, let's just go unarmed, shall we? There we go. Right. There we go. Right, so that is auto-equipping. The next big feature that I want to talk about, let's put my fists away, is there we go. The throwing poisons. Now we're just going to get ourselves to somewhere that we can be. This do? Yeah, this will do. Right, let's jump into the MCM again and have a quick chat about the options for this. So under poisons, we go to here and enable the throwing poisons, and you will see that you have various options for how it will behave. So you have a hotkey for toggling into throwing poisons. You can have it either keep throwing, so you throw one, it then takes another poison, or you can throw one and switch back to whatever you had equipped before you equipped the poison. So we'll keep throwing for the benefit of this. You can say which hand they've to equip in. You can then use some of these balancing settings to determine how much of an effect they have, how wide an area they affect, so on and so forth. But basically what happens is in your widget you select the poison that you want. So we'll go for paralysis because it's a fun one to use. You then push your hotkey, you equip a poison, and you throw it. Simple as that. It creates that hazy gas cloud. Let's see if we can.
Someone's being attacked.
Yeah, my aim is terrible. There we go. And that's it. That's throwing poisons. It's as simple as that. I love this. It's just what have we got? Frenzy. Let's go for frenzy. It's always a laugh as well. Who can we get? Let's try.
Someone's being attacked.
Simple as that. There you go.
Don't get any right.
Oops, getting shot at. Right, I'm just going to get out of Riften now and we're going to head to the stables and oops, I may die here. I need to show you the maybe shouldn't have thrown poisons in a city. Oh, my videos always go so well, don't they?
You have committed crimes against Skyrim and her people. What say you in your defense? You know what? You're not worth the hassle. Go. Be some other guard's problem.
Ooh, that was lucky. Right. Okay. Let's just equip. So there we go. And the last thing to show you is this option on the general page, which I showed you very quickly, which is horse and dragon riding. Basically, if you're using vanilla horses or not using a mod like immersive horses, which lets you use spells and staffs and everything on horseback, so if you've got vanilla behavior, you can set iEquip to behave in the same way when you jump on a horse. So basically it will hide the shout slot, it will fade out your left hand slot, and it will only let you cycle the right hand. Similarly, if you get on a dragon while you're doing the Dawnguard quest line, is it? I think might be Dragonborn, can't remember. It will only allow you to use the spells that vanilla Skyrim would allow you to use, or any that have been added to that form list. So let's just jump on the horse and you'll see what happens. So this is my horse. There we go. So shout slot is hidden, left hand slot is unusable, and if I cycle my right hand, let's just have a quick look in my queues, and you'll see actually, if we just add a couple of spells to the right hand queue. Again, just show you that in the queue. We've now got fireball and flames. If we just move flames up so that they're sort of spread out. If we now cycle the right hand, it'll go through only the things that we can actually equip on horseback. And there we go, and as soon as I jump off, here we have it. Slots back and left hand's activated again. And that's it, really. That's everything for 1.5 in iEquip. There will be a ton of other things I've forgotten to tell you about, but that's the main highlights. A lot has gone on behind the scenes. As I said, there have been literally hundreds and hundreds of changes made over the last year. It should be a much better experience for you. There's a lot more to it for everybody. You should be able to make it exactly what you want it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the new layouts. I want to see some layout presets being shared this year. And that's it. Thank you from me, and see you again.